I'm not even tipping him.
Now, I think 20-1 is too large for this 6-year-old.
God, I love Clumpton.
Ballyadam could have easily won that race.
Shaq and Boursois should be concerned.
Best is still yet to come with Champ.
Hello and welcome to the Next Generation Racing YouTube channel for a weekend preview of Newbury's racing this weekend. And God forbid, we hope that Newbury will be going ahead this weekend because we've got 4 races that we're going to be previewing. A short preview today, Jack, but God, we need this racing this weekend.
Yeah, I know. It's been a bit demoralising after the Dublin Racing Festival with the lack of national hump racing. And as we love the fibre sand, I mean, it still hasn't been the same, has it really?
No, it hasn't. And yeah, you mentioned the 5 sand. For those who don't know, Jack and I love the flat, by the way.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
We put a tweet out today, actually, just asking for the best anti-post flat bets. And I think, Jack, we are going to sort of get a video out potentially straight after the Cheltenham Festival. As soon as the jumps is out of the way, me and you are just going to go straight in with the flat and get the best anti-post bets going forward for the Cheltenham Festival. And we'll probably use some of the tweets that have been sent today, and we'll probably ask a question over on our Next Generation Racing Twitter as well, with regards to your best flat bets going forward. But let's get into the jumps action for this weekend, hoping it goes ahead with the first race, which is a handicap hurdle we're going to be previewing over the 3 miles, an extended 3 miles. David Pipe has the favourite here. Brinkley, which is 6-1. Sizable Sam and Southfield Stone, 13-2. Champagne Platinum, 15-2. And we've got Mint Condition, 8-1. A Perfecto is 10-1. Everglow, 10-1. And 12-1 and bigger the rest. Jack, a really nice competitive field to get our hands into straight away. And some really nice prices here. Who are you fancying?
Yeah, we love a big handicap, don't we, over 3 miles this is. I think Brinkley sets a brilliant standard. I mean, Tom Scudamore went away really nicely after that last hurdle. But the only thing was, it was quite a slow gallop that was set. And I know Southfield Harvest loves to go off at a really good gallop. So I think he could be found out there, if I'm being honest. And I think there's actually 2 that I'm going for here. I don't usually go for 2, but there's 2 here. And the first one, Champagne Platinum, that you mentioned there for Nicky Henderson. Of course, he went off as the Kim Muir favourite, so he's definitely going to stay. He finished a respectable 7th, and now he's opted for the smaller obstacles. So on that reappearance, it was the first start over hurdles since April 2019, and he was a tag keen, jumped very nicely and made some really nice headway throughout. And then up to the last, he was definitely travelling the best of them, but he was outstayed by a few speedier horses in the end. And the ground was good that day, and he doesn't really operate on good ground. So now we're looking at a bit more testing conditions. I think that could be a nice little price there. I think 10-1's available with Coral. And then outside of that, if you look at a bigger price, I'm going to go for a Legal Model at 25-1. Now, he's not the best jumper by any means, but last time on, he jumped horribly the last 2, but he stayed on nicely into 4th. And if Southfield Harvest goes off at a good clip, he may well just pick a few of them off. And of course, Brian Hughes is on board, and boy, do we love Brian Hughes. So I think Champagne Platinum at 10-1, a Legal Model 25-1 is where my money will be. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the moment, and I completely agree with you on some of those. I think the favourite Brinkley sets a really credible standard. I think he's going to be a tough nut to crack, but I don't like tipping up a favourite to begin with on a preview. And I was trying to look at the value in this race, and I was looking at who might go off, a good gallop. And you mentioned Southfield Harvest there, but the others I looked at were Kitty's Light and Farrant's Way, who could go off from the front. And this might just set it up for a horse who was dropped a pound from his last run at Cheltenham, and is a horse who probably does relish this ground. That's Agripar with Chester Williams on board. I think that this horse here, he does really relish soft ground. We all know that, and he'd probably prefer it if it was heavier. The softer, the better come this weekend. And I'd be a bit worried if it does sort of freeze over, that it might become a bit firm underfoot, which maybe he's only letting down. But I think the fact that this horse, he grabbed 4th last time out while staying on. I think he stays for days, and I think he's got an excellent chance the weekend. I've seen around the 20-1 mark for this horse, so I'd give him a massive shout at 20-1. But yeah, the favourite's going to be really tough to beat, but a really nice, exciting handicap to kick things off in the preview. Right, let's go on to one of the highlights of Newbury's meeting this week, and that's the Denman Chase. Now, this is a Grade 2 over 3 miles, and we see the return of Champ here, the RSA winner. We all remember how great that RSA win was with Barry Geraghty on board.
Now, Champ is running on between them. Look out for Champ. Manila, Indo, Allaho together. Champ storming through. Barry Geraghty on Champ has lifted the prize later.
But we'll look at the betting now, and Champ's sitting there around joint favourite, I think 2-1 with Clan des Obeaux, both of them sitting around that mark. You might be able to find better prices. Lost in Translation, the horse that I just can't have at all, 7-2. Kalashnikov 8-1, Secret Investor 12-1, 20-1, and Bigger the Rest. Jack, there's so much that we can pick apart in this race, because we've got Champ coming off the back of his RSA win, and the form of that race has been fairly all right since. I mean, we look at the likes of Allaho, who's performed fairly okay, but I wouldn't say it's been outstanding form, in my opinion, that we've seen from that RSA. And I would say that Barry Geraghty was the reason that horse got up on the day. So Champ may be a future star. I'm not doubting that. No chance at all. I won't be doubting that at all. But I think he's got a real tough ask against some real tough opponents, especially in the likes of Clan des Obeaux, who we probably didn't see the best of in the King George last time out. I think everyone was expecting him to win it, or Surname. We ended up with the third string of Paul Nicholls, and ended up winning that with Frodon. But I think Clan des Obeaux, for me, could bounce back here. I think he could be the horse that is the best bet in the race. If you were to have a bet, if you did like Champ, you're going to be taking plenty of risks. The fact that his first run of the season, he may not be fully fit. No doubt he'll probably be better come the festival. Jack, how did you analyse this race? It's really interesting to see this from a punter's perspective, how they see it when you've got plenty of horses in here who've had runs, and now you've got this one potential superstar in here that we just haven't seen since Cheltenham.
Yeah, I think it's quite a hard race to actually punt on. It would be a no betting race for me, but Paul Nicholls has a great record in this. So obviously Clan des Obeaux comes on from the back of the King George in good stead. And although he didn't jump great, I thought he showed some really gritty determination to finish third in the end. And he kept going and kept battling on. And I thought it was quite a nice performance. But Champ being installed, he was favourite first of all, I remember seeing. And I thought that was pretty brave. I mean, I don't think I've ever shouted so loud as that RSA, because goodness me, one of my friends thought his best treble was out, and we were screaming him home. And yeah, as you say, I think he will miss Barry Geraghty a lot, but I hope for racing he will set a mark to throw down the gauntlet to Album Photo, because we don't actually have anyone to challenge Album Photo yet. So it's a very, very fascinating race to analyse. And I saw Nicky Henderson's come out, and it said, although it is his reappearance, he had a very, very vigorous racecourse gallop, which I thought was quite interesting. Over 3 miles, he jumped eight fences, and they had to have 2 pacemakers, because he said no one can keep up with him over 3 miles. And he says the best is still yet to come with Champ. And if you like reading Nicky Henderson, then that is very, very encouraging. But I think the heart will be ruling the head, and I'll be hoping for Champ to come home. But I really wouldn't be surprised if it's Clan des Obeaux's race.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for those who don't know, with regards to Champ was named after Sir A.P. McCoy, named specially. They knew this horse was a good horse, and he's definitely going to be an improving horse. And I think I completely agree with Jack. As much as I've got an anti-post bet on Album Photo to win the Gold Cup, every racing fan wants to see a really strong field in that Gold Cup, and want the likes of, Champ and even horses from that Irish Gold Cup. You've got the likes of Minella Indo and Delta Work, who you'd love to see them bounce back and just, really show up in that Gold Cup and make it a really exciting race. But Champ, in my opinion, he's got to run a decent race. I don't necessarily say he's got to win come Saturday to show that he's got Gold Cup potential, but I think we have to see a horse that runs well come Saturday to say that he has every chance in the Gold Cup. You'd hate to see it if he hit the first and he made a mistake turning in. You wouldn't like to see that, and that would really put you off. But hopefully he runs a really decent race. Lost in Translation, I have to talk about this horse, Jack, because I just don't understand where we sit with this horse now. He's let me down too many times. He was a bit of a cliff horse last season for me in parts, and this season he just hasn't done enough, in my opinion. Now, is he 7-2 on what he has previously done? We're talking almost a year ago now, maybe a little bit further, or are we looking at a horse that genuinely could actually win this race?
I think it is the former of what you said. It is hard to back him after what he's shown this season. He's not jumping with the fluency which he has shown. He was the first off the bit in the King George, and Robbie Power was working away straight away from with him. And he just doesn't look the animal that he used to be. Almost like Altior. I mean, we'll come on to Altior soon, but I just don't think Lost in Translation looks like what he showed last year. And I see he's still getting nibbled into probably about 3-1 with some firms. And for me, I just find that ludicrous, because I don't know if it's a bit of a loyalty bet and people hope that he can do the business. But I think when you're looking at a big unknown in Champ and a decent contender with Clan des Obeaux, if you're looking at 7-2 about Lost in Translation, it's awfully short for what he's shown so far this season.
Yeah, it's a real interesting one. I can't have any of the rest at bigger prices. I wouldn't have a confidence saying any of those. But it looks like for myself and Jack, head's saying Clanders Ovo, heart is saying Champ. So looking forward to the Denman Chase come Saturday.
And now we move on to the Betfair Cheltenham free bet pot builder chase. Now, I'm not sure many people know it as that, but it is the game spirit. And of course, it revolves around the one and only Altior. Now, it's very hard to start elsewhere except for Altior. I mean, of course, Nicky Henderson did it with Sprinter Sacra, but Altior is 11. He's 11 years old now. Now, Sam, is the best past him, or are we going to see the Altior of old come to the fore here?
Right, first of all, it's a bit like the race before with Denman Chase. Your head wants to say Altior's going to come home and romp this and put himself in the champion chase picture, and Chacun Pour Soi should be concerned. And I doubt we're going to see that from Altior. I'd be very surprised. And he's not a horse that I'm going to be backing at the weekend. I think, he's as short with some bookmakers as 4 to 5, but I think you can get about 11 to 10, 5 to 4 about him. But he's not a horse that I'd be wanting to put in doubles or trebles. I just want to see him run a really decent race and love to see him win. It would be just great for the sport going forward to Cheltenham. And in regards to whether we've seen the best of him, we probably have. Let's not lie, we probably have. But the calls last time when he finished behind Nube Negra for this horse to be retired, I completely disagree at the moment with regards to that. I think this race will determine everything. If he a bit like the last race we talked about, Champ, if Altior went and hit a load of fences, you just think, do you know what? His head's not in the game anymore. He's done what he needs to do. He's been a superstar in the sport, and I think that's it for him. I wouldn't want to send him to Cheltenham and take the risk with him. I think I'd retire him there and then. But, every racing fan would love to see him win. But, Jack, I've been messaging you all week with regards to my nap in this. All week. That this horse here is going to absolutely... Do you know what? We actually messaged saying that, what's your nap of the week? We always do it before our podcast. We just discuss, so we make sure we don't match up on naps. And we never usually do because I just go all out and go somewhere absolutely ludicrous. But what I've decided to do, I said to Jack, do you know what? Fanion D'Estravail in here is a real fascinating runner. And I'd probably be looking at a market without the favourite here. Where you might get, I think the horse around 8 to 1 just generally, but you could get around 3 to 1, maybe 5 to 2 without the favourite for this race. But do you know what? I'm just going to ignore that. And I'm just going to say that Fanion D'Estravail at 8 to 1 is just a cracking each way bet. It's going to be 2 places. We haven't got the 8 runners, but it's 2 places. But I think if Altior does flop, this horse has an absolutely major chance, right? He ran the Clarence House last time where he finished behind likes of First Flow, Politolog and Waiting Patiently. And he kept on well. I wouldn't say he stayed, he kept staying on, but he kept on well with the rest of the horse thing. He was 8.5 lengths behind Politolog, 1 1/4 or 1.5 lengths behind Waiting Patiently, which I wouldn't say is horrendous form for this horse. And every single run I've seen for this Venetia Williams horse, he seems to be improving. He's so small. That's the thing. He's so nimble. Like when he jumps a fence, he just seems to just ping. It's just like an immediate sort of fly. He looks like he'd jump a hurdle better in some ways, but the horse seems to just fly over these fences, a little animal. But I really, really, really fancy his chances this weekend. Fanion D'Estravail is definitely going to be my nap at the weekend at around 8 to 1 each way.
Wow, that is a big bold statement. Anyway, I forgot to mention that the market for this, we have Altior 5 to 4 best price. We have Greenatine 9 to 2. We have So Royal 11 to 2. Fanion D'Estravail, as you've just heard from Sam, it is 8 to 1. We have Magic Saint at 10 to 1 and Sky Pirate at 14 to 1. Now, Sky Pirate is probably going to Warwick. He's actually entered 3 times this weekend over both fences and hurdles. So that's a very interesting one. Now, Sam, when I was looking at this, and goodness me, you know how much I hate agreeing with you. And I was looking through this and I was like, Sky Pirate, I quite like Sky Pirate, but he's going to Warwick. And I was thinking, I can't back Altior. Greenatine I'm not having because he was 7 lengths behind Politolog and jumped the last horribly. And then I looked at So Royal. I was like, 11 to 2. I don't think I'll be taking it at 1100 to 1. I mean, and then I got to Fanion D'Estravail. And I was looking at it, and I was like, this, actually, I know you're very, very keen, and Venetia Williams is very, very keen with him. And then I watched the Clarence House a few times, and it was It was just how he came widest of all. There was Defi Desoy and then Waiting Patiently. And he had an eyeball battle with Waiting Patiently all the way up to the line. And I thought that was really impressive. He showed a really good battle and determination there. So he was beaten ahead in the end by Waiting Patiently. He was only 2 lengths off Politolog, who was eased down, it's fair to say. But I still thought that was really good. And to be 1.5 lengths off Politolog and be 8-1, whereas Greenatine 7 lengths off at 9-2. I thought 8-1 was some really good value there. And if you go back to his Cheltenham run when he fell, he was actually jumping really well and he was in contention and probably travelling one of the best there until he fell.
Tanking.
Yeah, he was absolutely tanking. And I was looking at this and I hate to say it, but I think 8-1 is a really good each way price here. I can't rely on Altior. And I think there's going to be a next gen nap here almost with Fagnon D'Estravail at 8-1 for the Game Spirit.
You've made the right decision there, Jack. You've made the right decision. The horse just wins, mate. It just wins with absolute ease. Right, and then we move on to probably what is known as the highlight of the Newbury weekend in terms of the handicap, the big handicap, the Betfair hurdle. Everyone looks forward to this one, a grade 3 handicap over the extended 2 miles. The betting looks like this at the moment. Cadsland 7-1, Metier 8-1, Soaring Glory 8-1. We have Edwardstone 10-1, Mr. Coffee 10-1, Sky Pirate, who we know has entered everywhere under the sun, is 12-1, Buzz 14-1, 50 Ball and On to Victory 16s, and much bigger the rest. And we started the preview with a nice handicap, and this one here, there's some even more tasty prices in this. There are some real corking prices I find, and we see the likes of Metier in here and Edwardstone, and they're 2 horses that potentially, could be going to a Supreme if good enough. They're both very, they're both horses that are aimed at a Supreme, and they're in a handicap here, and they've got to prove themselves to enter the picture for the Supreme Novice Hurdle. What did you make of this, Jack?
First of all, I'm not having Metier, unfortunately. I think the race fell apart in the Tolworth a little bit, and he only got rid of Shake 'em Up Harry when he was over the last. And I mean, it was 12 lengths in the end, but I wasn't really that interested by it. And the last 18 winners have all carried 11 stone 8 or less, and of course he's carrying 11 stone 9. He may be a very good winner of the Betfair Hurdle, but I know Betfair Hurdle winners have an awful record in the Supreme, so I don't think any of them in here will be looking at the Supreme too seriously. And of course Edwardstone's 7 now. He's a 7-year-old. Of course, appreciate it's a 7-year-old, but 7-year-olds don't have the greatest record in this or a Supreme as well. And there was 2 that stood out again. I mean, I hate picking 2, but there was 2, and I think Friend or Foe at 20-1. Now I think 20-1 is too large for this 6-year-old considering he's the form he's in. Now it's just the way he jumps is so efficient. He looks so good over the obstacles, and he jumps really well under pressure, which I love to see, especially in a massive handicap like this. So on his penultimate run, he jumped a decent field ragged, winning by 11 lengths, and since then has finished second to Guard Your Dreams for Nigel Twiston-Davies, who's also in this. And he travelled very strongly that day. He went 2-1 on in play, but then he had to switch right and didn't find much off the bridle, but that was bottomless ground. Now, the soft ground forecast isn't quite like the heavy ground he found that day, so I think the soft ground will be definitely a lot more suitable. And I think 20-1's a little bit overpriced. And now for the last one, I think I may have to get one of your Gary Moore fan club t-shirts.
No.
I think we're gonna have to be wearing one as well. I hate to say it.
I'm not even tipping him. I haven't even. Do you know? I didn't even consider him for this race. What am I hearing?
50 Ball, 14-1, Sam. 14-1, because after he hacked up at Sandown in December, he was a bit keen, but he jumped well. He wasn't actually that great when he wasn't in the air, but when he was in the air, he was really efficient. It was 4 out that he took the lead, and he was thrown at the hurdle by Niall Houlihan, who was on board. And the more interesting form line was on his penultimate run. He won over 2 mile 3 at Ascot, so he's definitely going to stay out this 2 miles, even if it's run at a decent pace. Now, he beat Strawfan Jack, and Strawfan Jack has since gone on to win by 30 lengths at Aintree. And I thought that was very, very eye-catching. And although 50 Ball has raised £11, I think 14-1, we could see some decent improvement here. So 20-1 and 14-1 for those 2. I don't think you can go too far wrong, especially if they're playing 5 places each way. Now tell me, Sam, why should we not be going for 50 Ball, eh?
I'll tell you why, because we should be going to another South Coast trainer, my second string of fan clubs, basically.
Yes.
And I'm going across to the Mad Hatter of Winchester in Chris Gordon here with a horse called Annual Invictus, who I've seen at prices around 33 to 1, but with most bookmakers, I think he's around 25 to 1. I don't want to get too ahead of myself on the prices, but he's won his last 3 and he's been running at Plumpton the last 2 times, and I've got to love Plumpton. What a fantastic course, both local to us, Jack, but a cracking course. And he ran on soft ground that day. And what happened in that race? I remember I was actually off work and I was sitting there watching it, going, do you know what? This horse seems to just find more the more he's joined. He kept getting joined by horses, and he just kind of pulled away and kept doing so. And I think potentially he's going to be from the front, or he's going to be close up. He's not going to be held up. I'll be surprised if he is. But Josh Moore's taking the ride here. That's pretty much because, Tom Cannon's now, retained to Alan King. So he's also retained to Chris Gordon. He does ride a lot for Chris Gordon. But Joshua Moore takes the ride here, and I wouldn't be put off by that. I think Josh gives a horse, especially at 2 miles, a really, really strong ride. He's a strong jockey. And I do really like his chances. He's been going up the ranks, and I think it's a really, really interesting race because Chris Gordon, he's not known for having big winners. He's just not. Like, we don't associate him on the big days, do we? But last year, he had the third with a horse called Remy Luck, who I was actually a big fan of Remy Luck. And that was at a huge price. I think it was around 50 to 1, 33 to 1, that horse was, especially in the morning. Because I remember looking at it going, do you know what, he's got a hell of a chance. And I think Chris Gordon's aimed this horse for this race. I think that might have just been a prime target. So I think 33 to 1 is a hell of a price. Maybe that 25 to 1, if you do get that, that's all right as well. But yeah, I'd give him a decent opportunity. And the other one from that day at Sandown, I think the day that 50 Ball ran, was Mr. Coffee, who is a really, really interesting one because I was there that day, and that was one of the first days that punters were allowed back onto a race course. And I was standing there in the stands. I was like, God, where's all this money going? So many punters throwing their money down, all at these bookmakers. And it seemed to all be going on this Mr. Coffee. I think he went off 6 to 4 in his handicap, starting off at around 4 to 1 the night before. So there's obviously something with this horse that a lot of people really like. And he was very, very disappointing, no doubt about it. And he stayed on a mark of 138 in here. He ran off 138 then, he's off 138 here. And I just think that potentially he has every opportunity if finding what they thought was, what they thought that horse had. I just don't know whether something went wrong that day. I didn't see sort of a full picture from it all, but something didn't look quite right for a horse that was heavily backed into 6 to 4 favourite. He didn't run like a 6 to 4 favourite. He was nothing close to it. He completely flopped. But yeah, my 2 selections, Jack, I'm going to go with Annual Invictus 25 to 1 and Mr. Coffee around the 14 to 1 mark. A very interesting race though.
Now, Sam, just quickly. So, what do you think of? Obviously, we've touched on the outsiders, and 9 of the last 18 have been double-figure prices. But what do you think of Metier and Kadzand up that end of the market? Do they intrigue you that much, or are you happy to stay away?
Well, I think we both talked about it on our review, especially of the Supreme. Obviously, we were looking at the likes of Appreciate It and Ballyadam. And we were saying that at the moment, they're the 2 leading contenders. Ireland hold all the aces for that race in the Supreme. And you said about the poor record they have. Now, Metier, he just hasn't beaten much. We said it was one of the worst Grade 1 novice hurdles I've ever seen. And I don't know, like, you can't say that he's not going to win. He's unbeaten. He could just keep finding more and more. We don't know how good he could possibly be. We don't know where the ceiling is with this horse, but he could be a star. He could come out and romp this. And, we're saying, oh, God, yeah, look, the Irish should be worried. But you looked at this week. I was actually monitoring the markets last night with regards to the Supreme. And, well, after the run at the weekend in the Farmer Novice Hurdle, we had Ballyadam go up at around 12 to 1, got backed in from about 18, 16 into 12 to 1 for the race. Then about an hour later was 10 to 1. Now, I looked last night and suddenly loads of money is coming for this Ballyadam. 9 to 1, 8 to 1, 7 to 1. I've seen them at 13 to 2 in places.
Really?
Now, they really, really seem to like this horse. And I did say that I wouldn't be put off by his run. I think that he's potentially got a lot of improvement. So I would take note of this Ballyadam. They seem to think a lot of this horse. And I would be worried that he's going to run a massive race for Supreme. And I do think he'll be the winner. But we all know that I'm a big Ballyadam fan. But money's flying, Jack.
I actually messaged you last night, didn't I? I think it was midnight, and I kept watching the Farmer Novice Hurdle. I watched it 3 times, and I was on a call to a couple of friends. They were saying, "What are you watching?" I've heard that 3 times, and I was thinking, I was like, there is as they're travelling around the home bend there is a point when Ballyadam is travelling the strongest. I don't care what anyone says. Ballyadam could have easily won that race. and he was definitely travelling the strongest, but just didn't find as much off the bridle. And he was travelling 3 wide, 4 wide, whereas Appreciate It was just hugging the rail the whole way round. And of course, Appreciate It is just this massive chance in the Supreme. But I again, I hate it. This is just the Agree with Sam show it's turning into. But I have to agree with you with Ballyadam. Of course, we've gone off a bit of a tangent here. But when I saw 12-1 after, I didn't know he was 7, so that does look short.
Mate, I'll tell you what, as soon as the whole, Newbury, they do the inspection, tell them, like, Newbury's off, then this will be the highlight of the video. We start talking about the Supreme for just a small amount of time. But, yeah, it's very interesting looking at that. That's going to be it for our weekend preview. Hopefully, it does make some sense, you watching this, because we do hope Newbury will go ahead. I think the inspection is Friday morning at 8:30 is the inspection they've got. They might even have an inspection on Saturday morning as well. So it'll be interesting. Keep your eyes out for that. But we do pray that Newbury will be going ahead. And Jack and I will be back next week for a review of the weekend. I think we're not going to have too much to review potentially. And if we don't get any racing, I think we'll come together and we'll probably do sort of a preview maybe of a few races from Cheltenham. We do want to have our Cheltenham Festival preview, which we're going to have separately up at the start of March. We're looking at the first week of March for those coming to you guys. And we're really looking forward to bringing those to you with some really, really exciting guests. So do look out for that. And I'm sure we'll probably try and announce them on Twitter weeks before, so you do know who's going to be joining us for some of those. Especially one man, Andrew Halligan, who's got a massive shout in the Festival Novice Chase, and everyone knows who that is. And we're looking forward to hearing his thoughts on that day. But yeah, thanks very much for watching our videos. We are enjoying doing these. It is a new channel. Jack and I have got a fantastic new studio that's going to be, it's in development. It's going to look absolutely amazing. We both live local to each other, so it's going to be very easy once we're out of the COVID nonsense to film some really, really nice looking videos where we get you guys involved. We get special guests in, and it will make it feel like you're in a conversation with us, which is how we're trying to make this feel. We want it to be sort of a comedic value as well as an insightful value for our viewers. But we thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Like the videos. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, and also we have our Instagram page, which we'll try and promote a bit more over the next few weeks. But like I say, thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.